Hi, fifth graders. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to leave you some video directions for what we're going to be doing today. These video directions are actually going to be posted in two different places. Obviously, they're posted right here to today's Google Classroom post, but I'm also going to link this video to the post with all of the directions for your pattern block picture project. Because what I'm going to show you today is how to do step 2 of the project. So you're going to need to grab two things. First, you're going to need your picture, and second, you're going to need your pattern block picture project. And I've got both of those here. Let me get them set up for you now. Okay, so I have here the two pieces I need. I have the picture and I have the pattern block picture directions. What I'm going to look at first is you should have already created and designed your picture. So that's why we're doing this check-in. I moved the date, remember, just one day, but we're doing that check-in today. So if you are finished with this, you can put a little check mark next to that. You have designed your picture. Now we're going to do step 2, which is where we complete parts 1 and 2 on the worksheet to find the fractional values of each piece. So here's how I do that. First, I'm going to flip to that worksheet. We're going to be doing questions 1 and 2 together today. So if you remember, up here at the top, we want to label each pattern block as a fraction of a whole. This is just like what we did in class a couple weeks ago. So we know that a hexagon is equal to 1. It tells me that right here, which means if a hexagon is 1, the value of a trapezoid is 1/2. The value of the blue rhombus piece is 1/3, and the value of a green triangle is 1/6. So now in question 1, it says, how many of each pattern block did you use in your picture? I have to look at my picture and count up the types of pieces I have. So I see one full hexagon, so I'm going to put that here. If I count my rhombus pieces, those are the blue ones, I see 1. The top part of my dress and my neck here would be 2, 3, 4, 5. If you notice, they're not all blue. That's okay. Your colors can be different. Trapezoid pieces, I have the bottom part of my dress here as 1 and part of my hair as 2. And triangle pieces, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangle pieces represented in my picture. So first, I'm going to count up all of those pieces. I know that this particular picture met the requirements of using at least one of every type. You should have a number in each of these 4 boxes. Now I have to find the fractional value. So I have one hexagon. I'm going to do this with the colors that they show. So since I have one hexagon, now I know the hexagon pieces are usually yellow. I'm going to use orange because yellow is a little hard to see. I have one piece times the value of 1 to equal a total of a fractional value of 1. So this is the number of pieces times the value. So for the rhombus pieces, those rhombus pieces I know are blue. I'm going to have 5 rhombus pieces times the fractional value we know is 1/3. So to multiply a fraction by a whole number, what we do is we turn that whole number into a fractional amount. So remember, way back at the beginning of boot camp, we talked about how a whole number could be written as that number over 1 times the fractional value 1/3. That's going to give me a value of 5/3 because I multiply the numerators together. 5 times 1 is 5, and the denominators together, 1 times 3 is 3. You can choose to leave this as an improper fraction or turn it into a mixed number. So you could also write this as 1 2/3. I'm going to do the same thing with the trapezoid pieces. I have 2 trapezoid pieces times the fractional value 1/2. So to multiply that whole number, I'm going to rewrite the 2 as 2 over 1. I keep my 1/2. Then to multiply fractions, I multiply the numerators. 2 times 1 is 2. And multiply the denominators. 1 times 2 is also 2. I can see that 2 over 2 is the same as 1 whole. And finally, the triangle pieces. I have 4 triangle pieces times the value of 1/6 So I'm going to rewrite that 4 as 4 over 1 times my fractional value 1 over 6. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6. Now, this is a proper fraction. It's less than 1, but you could put that in simplest form if you wanted to. So I know that 4 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So I know that 4/6 is the same as saying 2/3. Now, your job between now and December 3rd, that's the Friday after we get back from the Thanksgiving break, is going to be to take these 4 numbers, the 1 as the hexagon, the 5/3 or 1 2/3, however you choose to write it for the rhombus pieces, the 2 halves or the 1 whole, however you choose to use that as the trapezoid pieces, and the 4/6 or the 2/3, whatever you chose for the triangle pieces. And these 4 values are what you're going to use in the rest of the project. So you'll add together these 4 values to get your sum in step 3. You'll use these 4 values and put them in order from least to greatest and question 1 on the back. You'll use those 4 values and write 3 equivalent fractions for each on question 2. And finally, you'll find the difference between the block you used the most number of times and the block you used the least number of times for question 3. So those 4 values are the numbers that you need to complete the rest of this project. If you have any questions, you can double check the directions video, the rubric video. You can email me. If you want to see more examples of multiplying a fraction by a whole number, you can also check that out in the Multiply Fractions playlist that's posted here and to the Pattern Block Picture Project page. But that is how you do step 2. After you've finished those values, you can go back to that beginning part and you can check off step 2 because we are now officially done with the first half of the project. All right? Have a great Thanksgiving break. We miss you and we can't wait to see you after vacation. Bye, 5th graders.